On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, we're going to put all of this into this. Beautiful day for Jeeping. Let's get this thing lifted. Alright, so the plan this weekend, we're going to get these Rubicon Dana 44s put in there. Some poor soul lost interest in his Jeep, and so Brian picked these up. They're fully rebuilt. Got new brakes, new ball joints, new gears, new everything. So we got the 410 gears, air lockers. It's going to totally transform this thing. Sweet. 1 hour, huh? 1 hour. All right, so this is what comes in the Iron Rock Off-Road 3.5 inch entry-level kit. This is for the back. We've got a new set of springs. We've got some extended sway bar links. And then we've got a track bar drop bracket. We opted to buy our shocks elsewhere because we thought we could find a better deal. So we got these Rancho RS 5000s from Summit Racing, and they should work pretty good for this application. When you lift something with the track bar, you either have to get an adjustable track bar or relocate the track bar mounting locations. In this case, we're going to use a track bar relocation bracket. It's going to go like this, and basically it raises the point where it bolts onto the axle. That way you can recenter the axle, because you can imagine as you lift this up, the point from here to here is going to shorten, which will pull the axle to one side. So by raising the point on the axle, it brings it back to factory geometry, which will relocate the axle underneath the vehicle. So anyway, track bar relocation bracket. Alright, for the front lift on the Foundation Series kit, comes with an adjustable track bar, the springs, and then we upgraded to the JKS disconnects, which I'll show you how those work. And then, like I said, we got the Rancho RS 5000 shocks. On the front, you always want to run an adjustable track bar instead of like a track bar drop bracket, because with the steering, there's added stress beyond what you would experience in the rear suspension. Having the adjustable track bar allows you to relocate the axle without adding extra stress on the frame or the axle brackets. Alright, so here's the kit that we're going to use to build our long arms. Barnes Off-Road, it's a do-it-yourself front long arm kit. Comes with everything you need. So let's go over the parts. Alright, so this kit comes with everything you need to build the long arms for the front of a Jeep. So we've got the big piece of the DOM here for your lower control arms. These, one end will fit it with a polyurethane bushing. We'll just have to cut out the end of the tubing there with the radius to weld on the bushing. Then the other end, get a threaded bung with these like Johnny joints, they're the Barnes Off-Road version. Anyway, good flex joint, greasable, rebuildable, and you just thread those in there. So what we'll do is we'll get the length established, get the axle kind of located under the Jeep, and then cycle the suspension and find out where we want to put our upper control arms. So basically this will build a radius arm. When these brackets are cut, you can see radius for the tube. They'll just go on there like that. Got a threaded bung here for the smaller DOM and a Heims joint. That'll go up like that to the upper mount on the axle. The end of this will be our mount, or our control arm mount for the axle side on the upper control arm. It simply welds to the end of the tube. The Heims joints, they come with high misalignment spacers. And then of course we got our beefy frame side mount with a little skid to weld in there for making sure it's got a nice ramp for sliding on the rocks and to kind of give it some extra stiffness. So with that, we're gonna cut off the frame side mounts, the factory frame side mounts on the Jeep, and start getting this Ruby Dana 44 under it. So we got the Dana 44 slid underneath it. Got the long arms kind of set in there. We're going to be slightly inboard from the frame rail because of the angle that they come off the axle. And the angle is important because it gives a little bit of triangulation for locating the axle side to side, better handling characteristics. But what that means is on the top side here, I'm going to have to fab up a little gusset to make sure this thing doesn't rock like that, you know. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to get these tacked in there and then figure out what we need for a gusset and figure out the length of these lower control arms. Alright, so after about 14 hours yesterday, we got quite a bit done. I do kind of feel like I got hit by a truck or something. Whew, man, I am tired. But hey, we got a lot done. Let me show you where we're at and where we're going today. Control arm mounts tacked in there. The lower control arms are all roughed in. So now we need to cycle the suspension so we can see where to put the upper links for the radius arms on. So there's this bracket here that welds on, and then the link goes from there up to there. And we're also going to get that front track bar in, so as we cycle the suspension, the axle is located side to side. So I'm going to get the track bar on now and then start flexing this baby. Cycle the suspension up. All the way up to full bump. And then that showed us where we could put this upper control arm mount on the axle side. And we determined our where to set the angle, the length of our tube, cut it to fit. So now we're just gonna hold it in there and tack it all together, and we'll pull it out of the Jeep and weld it up solid and get it all painted up. Doing the long arm adds a ton of flex and it really smooths out the ride. So it's a great upgrade, especially for the front, because the front, when you have that steep angle on a short arm, it just makes for a rough ride. And so by leveling these things out, it really helps with the ride quality and with the wheeling capability. so after a weekend of hard work, got the lift installed.
And the Dana 44.
And the Dana 44s, that is correct. Alright, so that concludes part 1 of lifting the TJ. I'm pretty happy with the progress. You know, we got the Dana 44s put in, got the long arms built, got it on its own weight, but got a few things left to do. So next time we'll be dealing with the drive lines, be putting in a slip yoke eliminator from Advanced Adapters, and got this brake line I gotta fix. Kind of bumped it with the welder. Oops. Definitely got to get the 33-1250s ordered. Then we got to flex this thing out. Make sure we don't need any, limit straps or extended bump stops, stuff like that. And then hopefully Easter weekend we're gonna have our own Easter Jeep Safari Idaho edition. So stay tuned. Hope you like what you saw. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.